Hello and welcome to another episode of Moonee Valley Voices, the new local podcast shining a light on interesting people and stories from within the Moonee Valley community, where we give them the platform and the opportunity to tell their stories. Today, I'm joined by Mark Errichiello. He is the director and co-founder of Master Advocates and a second-generation real estate agent. With over 23 years of experience in real estate, Mark has worn many hats, including as a real estate auctioneer, sales consultant, senior property manager and franchise director. And he's also deeply involved in the community, having served as the executive chairman of the Essendon North Village Traders Association and as a member of the REIV Board of Directors. So welcome, Mark. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Very excited to be here and beautiful setting. Feel very relaxed here.
No, it's good. I always wanted to have something like this in the area. Obviously for my own clients, but to do something like this, just get people on and share what we all love about this great community we call home or work in, and go from there. So Mark, why don't you just start by, I guess, introducing yourself a little bit beyond what I've sort of said, and tell us a bit about your connection to the area.
No, thanks for the introduction, Matt, as well, and great thing you're doing for Moonee Valley. Great show to be on, Well, look, I'm feeling a bit old now, mentioning all those things and flashbacks of the career. But yeah, I was born and raised in a family of real estate agents. So Dad initially was a councillor for 9 years. We were raised in Brunswick and Brunswick West. We moved to Brunswick West. He was a councillor of the Brunswick Council for over 9 years and chairman of the electricity supply there. And then he was moved into a career of real estate. Right through my teenage years, I was pretty much living in a real estate office. And my brother George and father Tony, they took an opportunity with some business partners in 1997 to open up a Rain and Horn franchise in Ascot Vale on Union Road. Mm-hmm. And so I followed them after school. In year 2000, I moved into that office, started in property management, and pretty much worked through most of the roles in an agency, running a small business with family as well. And I was fortunate to meet my beautiful wife, Michelle, there too. So we were there as colleagues. Yeah. And from that career, we had a few life-changing circumstances which changed our mindset about life and passions and areas of property that we liked serving. And that led into buyers advocacy and, having dealings with traders associations throughout Moonee Valley and business between Essendon and Ascot Vale with other partners as well. That's how I got involved with the Essendon North Traders Association in the last decade. It really opens you up your eyes to the community and the strength of everyone looking after each other and that community spirit of sharing things, sharing support in business, wanting to do more for local visitation, and just local lifestyle and essence. So, that's where we are today.
Yeah, nice. And the area itself, what do you love about living in Moonee Valley, doing business in Moonee Valley?
Well, we've got two young daughters, and we've raised them in Moonee Valley. Beautiful neighbourhoods. We live in Strathmore. We've run and operated business between Niddrie and Essendon North. Mm-hmm. I think the facilities here, when you're raising a young family, are fantastic. Yep. Lots of green, leafy areas and outdoors. Great traders associations and activity centres. There's so many great cafes and restaurants and activities for kids and festivals, things like that. But also access to other parts of Melbourne is so easy. And I feel that our services can always improve and lifestyle can always improve. And more people getting community minded is probably the strength and spirit, and generally care for each other. Yeah, you feel that in most neighbourhoods that you go to in Moonee Valley.
Yeah, and just on the Traders Association, because I feel like unless you've been in them, maybe you don't always appreciate the role that they play, and that sort of thing. So, I mean, walk us through, I guess, your initial introduction to the Traders Association and like from being within it, I guess, the role that it plays. I mean, not just specifically for the businesses, it's that form part of it, but the broader community that maybe people don't necessarily appreciate.
Yeah, so initially I was introduced to who was the president at the time, and he's now the current president again, Tony from King of Clippers, which many people know Tony the Barber on Mount Alexander Road in Essendon North Village. So I was involved with Rain and Horn at the time. This is before Master Advocates buyers advocacy business that my wife Michelle, and I operate, and it wasn't just about bringing business into local trade and local area. It was about the safety of the location, fair parking discussions as well to benefit all traders and visitors. Safety, even though council operate, they don't control or they don't govern over the major roads and arterials. That's your state and your big roads, but you still advocate for it if it's in your municipality. And the traders took a large voice to that as well, because you're seeing, permanent injuries, fatalities. Things like that. So, very much community minded, and then getting community together to, festivals that took a long time to recover after, COVID and lockdowns. But beforehand, it was always thriving, and it's getting back there now. There's been some great collaborations where, council have even brought in with the arts and culture and live music and events again. Also promoting what the traders need, and visitation when there's certain themes on each year or certain times of the year that can really help bring visitors there and return, and local residents just loving their local area and supporting it.
Yeah, cool. And the buyers advocacy business, how did that sort of start? And what have you felt has been the big transition from working in like perhaps a more traditional real estate agency type of setting to an advocate setting?
Well, I've always, the background was sales and property management, auctioneering as well, with the buyers advocacy side. I first was introduced to it through some clients that needed the service. So this was going back, almost a few decades now, over 2 decades now, and then meeting a few buyers agents in the industry and different buyers agents associations. So outside of your Real Estate Institute Victoria, they've got a buyers agents chapter there, and there were some great mentors in that chapter introducing me to making that step from sales to buyers advocacy. And then you've got your national groups like REIV, Real Estate Buyers Agents Association. There's PIPA as well, Property Investment Professionals. It was really reaching out I felt more in line with and fulfilled with helping someone that had no knowledge about the process, and then some people that had some knowledge and experience, but you can add more value. And it was a closer relationship for a longer period of time, and operating a business in that service that both Michelle and I loved. And I think the main trigger for me looking outside of that was, we had an event in 2007. In short, I won't go into a lot of detail, but my wife had a workplace accident on Union Road in 2007, and it resulted in a car coming off the road. She was working there at our office, and it severed her leg. So her leg was traumatically amputated at the scene. Her life was saved and by an off-duty fireman, and her, post that, she recovered, rehabilitated, became an Australian Paralympian, and broke 100 and 200 metre world records at the London. It led her to the London Paralympic Games. From that, after representing Australia there, we came back and we just wanted to choose something that we both felt passionate about long term. And it was really that community mindset as well. Helping people get into housing, helping people invest and build wealth that way from the knowledge that we built in a sales career that really built, and property management career. That's essentially how Master Advocates began.
Yeah, right. Well, I wasn't aware of the story with your wife. Obviously, very inspiring, and
thank you.
I mean, not to go too much into that, but quickly, a quick segue, I guess. Talk to me a little bit about London and seeing her go and compete on that sort of tournament at that level. And what was that like? What did that mean for you?
Look, that was life changing just through experiencing it as a spectator and her husband, and the whole journey of her rehabilitating and then representing the country in front of a crowd of 80,000 people in London was amazing. But the process of any struggles of learning to walk and run again through to getting she had a Victorian Institute of Sport scholarship and then Australian Institute of Sport, so we moved to Canberra for 2 years there, and just beautiful people that helped. When you talk about a team and entourage and everyone involved, from coaches to teammates and colleagues and community. She was started learning to run and train representing Athletics Essendon, and was one of the first Paralympian athletes to break world records representing them. So it was, and I think that probably not just my family's background involved in sort of local business and local council or traders groups, just the love of community through that process.
Yeah, for sure.
And even sales agents that we knew that were really initially competitors on the street, where you've got so many sales agents on every major road in Moonee Valley. At the time of her accident, some reached out and were saying, "Can I help with appointments? Can we help with service?"
Yeah,
that's sort of the love when community gets together.
Yeah.
And I just had a different outlook about the industry from that point. That's what moved into this phase of the business.
Yeah, because I mean, real estate can often be portrayed as this super cutthroat, us versus them all the time. But that was a really, I guess, poignant example of the community sort of coming together and looking out for one of their own.
When times get tough, definitely, and they're all human beings. They're all sales agents. They do seem like the enemy when you're a buyer, but not when you're a vendor, and they're getting the best price for you. Yeah. But they're human beings. They've got families, loved ones. And deep down good people in my experience. Yeah. Not everyone.
No, but most. And I guess so what I'm hearing from you with respect to the advocacy business, it's more, you feel like you're a bit more involved in that whole process. You're guiding people, whether they're, upsizing, downsizing, you're sort of involved in both sides of that equation.
Yes, especially when they might have a criteria or a goal, regardless if they're investing or owner-occupying, that different phase in their life, just based on our experience and what we know of what makes good property investment, and what might be able to add some value or some ideas to consider to enhance their criteria, then we take it out. Once they've got their budget, their mortgage ready, their pre-approval ready, or their finance, we can take that out to the market and find it throughout our networks, if it's advertised or off-market property.
Okay. And Moonee Valley, a bit of a real estate hotspot. Obviously, there's people love their real estate in Moonee Valley. What have you sort of seen in the local market over the last sort of 12 months post-COVID? I guess what's that recovery sort of been like? Yeah,
so it's always it can be patchy in areas, but Moonee Valley is so central and well established. Well-heeled area, lots of great properties from period style to modern. It tends to hold well. It proves that during COVID. Certain properties, if they're higher density or oversupplied and not high end in the build quality and construction, they may struggle a little bit when times get tough. But the majority of each suburb within the municipality, if you look at the average properties and say if you're looking above $800,000 to a few $1 million and greater, they've held quite well and there's still demand. Yeah. And is most of your clientele looking to buy in this area, or you travel around a bit? We do travel, Most do look in the northern and western suburbs and inner northwest. We do travel, not everyone can put all the eggs in one basket. So we travel around Victoria for certain clients as the relationships evolve and referrals from clients needing to look in different areas or help in different areas. We don't do direct sales anymore. If we have clients that need to sell or advice on selling, we'll operate from a vendor advocate perspective and give them
helping them find the right agent.
Help them interview the agents and engage the right people, ask the right questions, and manage their circumstance and timing. But certainly we do travel interstate. We don't operate. Some buyers agents do, or some advocates do. But we'll recommend people we know and trust through associations in different states that might have experience there and operate under similar code of conduct and ethics.
Cool. And talk to me a little bit about first home buyers in particular. Obviously, can be very tough for first home buyers to get into the market, particularly if they don't have any sort of levers to pull on, whether that's bank of mum and dad and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
With the first home buyer clients that you typically work with, what sort of advice are you giving them? What are some of the things that you see that maybe you think maybe people could proactively maybe better manage to get themselves in a better position to buy property? What are you sort of seeing out there?
Yeah, it is. It's a tough market for first home buyers. What I've found, and speaking to some colleagues around the industry, is in the last 12 to 24 months, especially with the rise and pressure in the rental market and the housing crisis. So there's a low supply in the investment property market in Victoria, and that's been declining. We're now just over 1% vacancy rate.
Yeah.
So a lot of first home buyers I've seen making the choice or pressure to buy with the rising rental costs, where they could look at, well, what can I afford? Can I get pre-approval to buy something for this similar rental pressure and put it into an asset? Then it's about the choice of asset. It's not always, you're not always fortunate to be able to buy where you've been able to choose to rent and afford to rent. Some may look at rent vesting. Rent where you want to live and can afford, and
buy where you
access to employment,
Yep.
and buy an investment elsewhere where, apartments of certain types, it's what most first home buyers can afford, unless they've got some support, like you said. In certain locations, they might hold, but they might hold value over time if they're a lower density building and a bit more spacious, a little bit more unique in size, but they don't really have much growth when there's a bit of an oversupply of apartments in the area. So sometimes even going on the train line, follow the infrastructure 1 or 2 suburbs out and see for the same budget, can you compromise and get a villa unit or a unit or something a little bit more land ratio and size, and you're not going to grow out of it. You can rent it well if you have to move. If your lifestyle changes, you can tend to get a good yield and some growth. That tends to be my advice for first home buyers, depending on their budget. Some are mature age now in their 30s and 40s and have a good income, but they chose to rent or didn't find the area they wanted to commit a mortgage, and they'll even be in that $1 million plus range without getting any incentives from the government.
You've worked in real estate for a while now, and in particular in the Moonee Valley sort of area. What have you thought of the changing face of property in this area? We've seen a lot more sort of high density development. We know that state government sort of earmarked, that sort of top of Keilor Road, Essendon North sort of area for further development as well.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? How do you think that's affected the, the just various aspects of life in Moonee Valley, whether that's, from a socioeconomic point of view, the sort of people that are moving into the area, and, the changing, I guess, character of the neighbourhoods. What have you sort of seen in that respect?
Well, times always change, so we can't sit on large blocks and with the rising population and demand for housing in a city, we do need more, lower density developments would be good. When most streets, when you look at the housing statement and that plan you mentioned to key infrastructure or key activity centres to be of a higher density development, higher rise development, my opinion is you need the infrastructure corrected first, right? Because that will create more issues. We've been strong advocates in the Essendon North area for the Essendon North Village roundabouts. RACV has mentioned it many times, year after year, as one of the most dangerous roundabouts in Victoria. So there's fatalities there. The state government did announce last year that they'd put $6.5 million towards planning redesign. It will cost a lot more than that to actually correct it. To correct it and actually implement the construction or rectification work. But at least it's a start. When we see that planning start, we haven't seen it yet. It's almost been a year we've called out for it. But hopefully in the next year or so that planning commences. That might be one step closer to, if traffic flow can ease a little bit, then the actual, not just in that area, but all areas of Moonee Valley, where there's major intersections and major arterials, as soon as that starts to improve, maybe you can look at more higher density development. But I still think, you want those developments to be desirable, properties that people want to live in, affordable housing for rental, yes, that can be a bit more, compact. But around the main roads and radiuses there, maybe 800 metres out generally, a few side streets, then you'd start to look at the subdivision that we see that is more of that sort of classic homeowner-occupier space of side-by-side, larger 4-bedroom houses, or maybe 3 on a block. They'll hold value longer term. Doesn't meet the demand for housing.
Yeah.
But yes, there's going to be compromise needed
Sure.
on both sides.
Sure. I think that's probably a nice segue to talk about you obviously running for council. We've always got one of
Yes.
Mark's little flyers here.
Thank you.
So, we've seen from your involvement with the Traders Association that you're very heavily invested in sort of local community and matters that affect, businesses, residents, visitors. Talk to me a little bit about what's, driving you to run for council at this year's elections and yeah, that sort of stuff.
Well, look, I think bringing a balanced voice in the sense that we all come from different backgrounds and experiences, and I think if there's a balanced constituency or voice of the constituency at the council level with your councillors that are going to represent you in your wards, and then care for all of Moonee Valley if we're fortunate to be elected. The main priority, I guess, has been, living the last 25 years and working in the area, raising a young family. Our daughters are still young, primary school age.
Yeah.
You start to think more about, and maybe not everyone does, but you start to think more about the community and the future. Like we've had quite a good upbringing and opportunities in business and community, and where we were fortunate to be able to buy. Now it's trying to pave the way to encourage a spark for the next generation so that they can enjoy a great community that's better than the one we have as well. Not that, it's been great, but I think there's always room for improvement. And also what's important for the community, keeping political views out of it and party politics out of it. When you're in council, it should be about the community and the overall of Moonee Valley and the residents and visitors of that community. And opportunities for young kids, opportunities for business owners as well.
Yeah. So what are sort of, I guess, your main, if you were successful, what would sort of be the main priorities for you in terms of, your platform and I guess what you'd look to achieve in a council term alongside your fellow councillors, obviously? Yeah,
so it also will come down to budget and what can be done.
Yeah.
In any operating like a business.
Yeah.
We've got so many great things and so many great services for from the young kids to the aged population as well. But I think supporting business, which supports culture and where you'd love to live, because if the activity centres weren't thriving, it changes the feel of the community and where you want to go, helping young kids with sporting opportunities and parks and facilities as well, and maybe services that actually spark their interest to improve the future and their future development as well, but also the infrastructure and transport and local roads and parks. If even going back to the major roads at Essendon North Village, I'll continue to advocate for that until we've got answers, until we've got action. Just won't let promises go by and be forgotten about. So, and then, continual maintenance and improvement of other major roads and intersections throughout our community. And business opportunities, again, business development, activity, and festivals, things like that. The things that I'm always passionate about, but they'll take time if I'm elected to get in there and look deeper within the council and the way things have been operating and the way people have actually been, voting and wanting to support council and community and form my opinions too. And that can take a few months initially to learn at a deeper level.
You mentioned budget obviously is a big, I guess, restricting factor in some ways. There's not money to spend on everything, and councillors and the officers all have sort of tough decisions to make a lot of the time around what they can and can't spend money on. I guess from your perspective at the moment, obviously not having that inside look just yet, but from what you do understand, what you've seen, are there areas where you think spending could be perhaps more efficient?
Well, there is publicly available information as well. I wasn't involved at points of certain decisions, obviously, because I'm not in council. But I'd say that people do try to make the best decision they can at the time. Sometimes there's conflicts, or sometimes the decisions can be made and then realised to be a poor choice. I would say there could be more priority around roads and infrastructure and parking contributions. Even when the state government is funding on the major road side, but care for our local roads, and local activity centres. Sometimes they can get forgotten about. Taking it away from traders, there is some sports facilities in the municipality that can be improved to help provide opportunities for young kids to participate, and some that have had more help than others. And that comes with timing as well. Everyone can't be helped at once.
No.
But at least if there's a good plan there showing when the help will come, pending budget, right, then that can ease concerns as well, and then actually show some hope. Because there's always, I guess, an abundance. There's an abundance of fear or abundance of hope, and then at least with a good plan, people can feel a little bit more ease with the future. And then on the flip side of that, what are things that you think council does really well you'd love to see continue and continue to prosper? Look, arts and culture I love, right? And I think that's always been something that's made you feel vibrant and passionate about your community. I think we do that well. I think we do it well, seeing more of it.
Definitely post-COVID too, it felt like there's been a big effort to bring more festivals, more music, that sort of thing.
And I think that's what, if you look back at your fondest memories growing up, it's usually been community gathering and community events and celebrations. And then that flows on. That flows on through local businesses, and it flows to the families as well. So that community spirit and passion. All
right, cool. So we do something every episode called the Valley Fave. So we've got 10 quick fire questions. We were talking before we started recording. So there's no need. We're not offending anyone. We're just asking you very quickly, quick fire first thing off the top of your head. Favorite local restaurant?
Well, look, I'd say I've actually gone plant-based recently, so I'm looking for new favourite restaurants. But I do. I did actually enjoy Two Fat Greeks and Damazi's quite often, and Il Caminetto near Queen's Park. So I do actually have some relatives involved there too. So but finding good plant-based is a new journey. That's only been the last month or so for myself. They're just a few, but there's a lot of great restaurants. I don't want to. And I try them all. So
Well, plant-based restaurants. If you're watching, give us a tag. Let us know where to send Mark. Do you have a favourite suburb in Moonee Valley?
I'd have to say Strathmore and Essendon would be my favourites, because where we live and work and frequent often. Outside of that, I'd say it would have to be Moonee Ponds, Ascot Vale. So I'm being broad, but definitely. All of these, all of the major activity centres I love. I'm always on the road, so I love frequent. We're in Nidri, go to Biagio's as well. And we talk about restaurants. They all
have a bit of their own distinct flavour to all these different sort of pockets, don't they?
And I find it depends on your mood and different types of weeks, or and where you're based at the time. I'll be pretty spontaneous.
You're spoiled for choice for sure. Do you have a local sports club that you've been a part of, or a favourite local sports club?
Yeah, we've over the years, especially since operating our own business, we've supported Due to Stars. My brother's son plays at Essendon Royals as well. So I haven't had time to go to a lot of games or watch local, but I'm a Carlton Blues fan, which isn't safe to say when you live in Essendon. My wife and her family are all Bombers fans. So.
Oh, well, at least they keep it local. No, I'm joking, but it's there's lots of good local sports clubs as well. Do you have a favourite place in town to relax?
I'd say Napier Park in Strathmore and Woodlands Park, depending on the time of day. Definitely. Or down, if I take the dog down to the creek, the 5 Mile Creek in Moonee Ponds. So and that'd be more if we get time to go out with kids just locally too.
Did you have a favourite local event? We've touched on events, but anyone that stands out?
The event in Lincoln Park last year, and you had Road Traders.
Road Traders, I was there that
pretty
night
cool.
too.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I went down with my dog as well,
Yeah.
Strudel. You see me around with the German Shepherd sometimes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, before that, it was more because we had involvement in it back in 2019. We did the blow-up cinema at Lincoln Park that had Home Alone, and that was all part of the Traders Association.
Right, okay.
Moonee Valley Council helped support that.
Yeah.
Those type of events is what I love seeing more of.
Yeah, my kids love the Road Traders thing.
Yeah.
They never heard them before.
That went off.
And they're only 4, the twins, but they were listening to Road Traders for at least a week after that.
Yeah. Oh, the dog started barking, so we walked up onto Leake Street. We went to Sucre and we're having cocktails listening to it. So it was good.
Ah, nice. No, it was a good night. Do you have a favourite local shop? So this wouldn't be a restaurant, but somewhere, like a gift store or something like that?
Yes, I'd say it can be even cafes. I'm having coffee like 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah.
So again, I don't.
You got to spread the love. Yeah.
Spread the love. I don't have always favourites, but if I'm going to Essendon North Village, I'd go to Pana Pizza Co.
Yeah.
Get coffee there, or over the west side of the Essendon North Village, you go to Matt Black's and Andy's place as well. So, with gift stores, I know my daughters love shopping around quite a few places, but they've always loved Mind Alive, the toy store on Leake Street. Yeah, that's a classic for a few generations.
Yep. Favourite outdoor activity in Moonee Valley?
I'd be walking my dog. That's like outside of work. She's a big girl. She's like 50 kilos, so she needs walk.
She needs
twice a day.
Walking. Yeah.
But I only got a bike again, push bike, after so many years because the girls have been riding. So I've got to get more active and go through the creek trails with that.
And then a favourite hidden gem in Moonee Valley. So this would be something that you love, but you feel like it should be busier than it is, or should get a bit more love in general.
That's a good question. Yes, I would say, and it's probably been improving with the festivals and activities. Lincoln Park, I think, has had a lot more love over the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, and I'd like to see that continuing. Yeah. I was even thinking, you've got that soundstage at Queen's Park. That love's coming back there now that the Moonee Valley Festival's been brought there as one rather than spread around. But you've got that soundstage there. I'd love to see something like that at Lincoln Park after seeing the Road Traders. Yeah, definitely. Something a bit more permanent. Yeah, maybe something with a little bit more of an Indigenous reflection. Like, I don't know if you know the creator, the bird Bunjil. Okay. Listening to my daughters when they come home from school. They come from the school. You could design something like that with some natural materials and big soundstage. Okay. I think the clock tower, and it might be as you aging a little bit, like in stage shows more and things like that. But I think from a younger, the younger groups can get more involved in that and visiting and more diverse shows. There's always some great shows that are on there. Even like during comedy festival, you get some good comedians there and stuff. So it's a nice little diverse space. In the Moonee Valley for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in. For the listeners that want to learn a bit more about you, whether that's business, whether that's your council endeavours, where can they find you? How can they support? Well, we're based on Keilor Road in Niddrie now at 326 Keilor Road. And so our website's masteradvocates.com.au. Yeah. So Mark and Michelle Errichiello. And feel welcome to reach out even through the Traders Association and hopefully through the Moonee Valley Council soon. So running for the election in October. Yep. And anyone looking to support your campaign, how would they get involved? Well, you can contact me directly, and also I'm running in the Woodlands ward, which runs from the Essendon North Village and Woodlands Park all the way through to past Holmes Road and Maribyrnong Road, end in Moonee Ponds, so Essendon and Moonee Ponds. Yeah. So that'll be amazing. Yeah. Before we go, we might quickly touch on that because obviously for a lot of the listeners, maybe they're not aware that the election structure, council structure is changing. Yes. We're going from multiple member wards to single member wards. From your point of view, how do you think that changes the election sort of the way it might work in terms of number of votes you need to get in? Yes. And then eventually, I guess, the actual structure of the council that is elected? Well, this is my first time running in an election at local government and council level. So it will be interesting. I think. Yes, you still may have as many councillors running, multiple councillors running, for the election, or candidates running in the election. For example, Woodlands Ward is a new ward. It's sort of been cut out of what was part of Buckley Ward before. Yeah. So you've got one councillor per ward and 9 wards now, and you can look up the new map there that's been put forward. As far as the constituents voting in that ward, there was opportunity for business owners to vote, even if they weren't local residents. That date's cut off now to register, but definitely, if you're living in that ward and local community, there'll be after registration in September, there'll be ballots coming out and elections in October. So it'll be a mail ballot, not in person where you'd go to local schools or venues to vote.
Perfect. Well, Mark, thanks for the quick crash course there. And thanks again for tuning in to Moonee Valley Voices. We're excited to bring this show to you, to the Moonee Valley. If you're a local business owner, you coach one of the local sports teams, I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a message at matt@contenthype.com.au, and we'll see you next week.